Hey guys, welcome back to another video where let's just say, I'm going to do some deeds to my pets, blah blah blah, whatever. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to AFK raids overnight, which if you don't know what that means, you can basically just sleep and do raids. Yay! Also, if you want to AFK raids on mobile, there is a link in the description for that too. So, it's a video. Link in the description for a video on how to AFK raids on mobile. Because a lot of people have been asking for it, so. Yeah. Also, it you have to be able to download a specific app on your phone or your Chromebook. It works on that too. And some people don't have the app, but I know a lot of people do. So just quick disclaimer. I'm also going to be answering your questions from the last video I did on this. So if you have any questions, they'll probably be answered in this video too. But yeah, let's go ahead and start. So the first thing you want to do is download Tiny Task, which will be linked in the description or in the pinned comment. I'm pretty sure they changed the website a little bit, but this is what it looks like. So if you want to download it, just hit standard. Or you can go here and just download a zip or an exe, which is what I did. But once you have Tiny Task, it should look something like this. And you want to go ahead and copy my settings. So turn always on top on, always, or show captions on, use default toolbar on, continuous playback on. Sometimes continuous playback turns itself off. So you'll have to check for that every time you open this. And also, Tiny Task is 100% safe. I mean, half of the Anime Dimensions community uses it, so. And it's used in a ton of other games too. Even some of the biggest games ever. I advise you to put your playback speed to 1, but some people can put it up higher. And the reason for this is because for some people, when you put your playback speed really high, it will, once you complete a raid, it'll say, you're cheating. You can't have the rewards. You won't get banned. It'll just say you can't have the rewards. So just put it to 1x. So now I'm going to do the tiny task and also make sure you're always on the create screen when you start this. But I'm going to do the tiny task, and then after I do it, I'm going to explain what I did and why I did it. So if you want, you can just copy exactly what I'm doing here. Okay, here we go. So I go ahead and stop my recording. But first, your playback hotkey and your recording hotkey, set those to whatever you want. They're important because you don't want to press these buttons here. I mean, some people do, but I really don't advise doing that. It's just way better to use hotkeys. So now I'm going to do the tiny task, and after I do it, I'm going to explain to you what I did and why I did it. So here we go. Boom, and I started boom, 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 boom. And then boom, you spam 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ERZX. And you want to do this till the recording is about at 20 to 25 seconds. And then boom, you end it. So what I basically did right there. What I did was I clicked play, and then I clicked one of these characters, and this is the part a lot of people get confused on. So the reason I clicked these characters is because this is where, like, alright, this is going to be a little bit hard to explain. So after the tiny task finishes a raid, you get teleported back to the normal lobby. So let's go back to the normal lobby real quick. So what the tiny task does is it'll click play and then click right around here and it'll click you into raid. And then after that it'll click play again and then create and then create a raid. And then I'll go into a raid. It'll do raid for you. So that was a pretty good way of explaining it. But there's also another way to do this. I mean, it's the same exact way, but it's more of a refined version. You do the exact same thing, but before you start the raid, click around here. Just spam click around this area. Because sometimes you'll get kicked from the game for like, I don't know, harassment or something. And you need to be able to hit reconnect. So if you just spam click around here, which you don't need to for how long I just did, just for like a couple seconds. If you manage to do get kicked, then which you won't get kicked for AFKing. Sometimes you just disconnect because of internet issues or something. And you can click around here and it'll hit reconnect and then boom, you're back into the game, back into action. Easy. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a tiny task and I'm going to show it off in action. I'm about to show it all off in action right now. You can do whatever raid you want, by the way, and if you do want to do a raid that isn't up here and it's down this way, don't use your scroll wheel to scroll down to the raid. Use this little guy right here. but I'm gonna be doing Mihawk raid for this, so, and I'm also gonna do it a little bit slowly. I do know how to do this fast because I've been doing it for over a year. But here we go. And then spam. I actually just realized I won't get to show it off in action, show it all off, because raid isn't open. So that's tough. But you spam for a little while, you get a little bit of damage in, and then boom, you end it. And then watch. Check it out. Oh yeah. Now you're going to be doing raid for days. You can also save your tiny task file for another day. So, the only problem is sometimes tiny task files will corrupt. Actually, not sometimes, a lot of the time. Tiny task files will corrupt and they just won't work. But it's only like a 15-second macro that you can do, which macro is just what tiny task is. Tiny task is a macro, and it's called tiny task because it does a little teensy bitsy tasks like this. But you can just save it and open it if it works, then do that if you want. You can also save it for specific raids. So like if one night you're like, hey, I hate this raid, I want to do this raid, you can just pop open your save file and then boom. A lot of people ask me for my save file. What did I just do? I just opened the settings on my second monitor. What? They're moving themselves. I'm being hacked right now. What just happened? My settings were just getting configured. My monitor settings. Yeah, I think there's aliens after me or something right now. I've never had that happen. That was weird. I think I'm about to get sniped in the face. So if this is the last video I make, and now I forgot what I was talking about. So, oh yeah, a lot of people ask me for my save file. But the problem with that is if you use someone else's save file, then you have to have their monitor size, you have to have their monitor resolution, and it's all a little bit silly and wacky. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So that's why I don't give my tiny test file out. And plus, all my files are corrupted. I have given someone my file once, but it took me like 30 minutes to get one working. So I'm not doing all that. Alright, so the first comment is, does this work with Gear 5 Luffy Raid? His AI usually does not move him close to you. Yeah, it'll work. It's just make sure you're not using a character like Starter Deku, which doesn't have like any range. Also, I forgot how Celestial on him. Yeah, make sure you're using a character that has range, like any raid character ever. Or a character that has a dash, that'll be able to hit the boss. But usually since players now are just insanely strong, you could just hit the boss with like one ability and still get like, I don't know, a lot of rewards. Like 50, 75, maybe even 100 tokens or more. But that's only if you're me. It'll work, it just won't work as good. But in the end, you're only going to be losing like a few tokens. But since most characters nowadays have good enough range to hit with almost every one of their moves, or at least with their 4 and 5 and 3, I guess. Next is, mine sometimes get stuck on the speed rate menu. Any solutions, or am I doing something wrong? You're stupid, you're doing something wrong. So as I already explained earlier, the part where you click on the characters is where you click on raid. So don't forget that part. That's what you're doing wrong. Or if you are doing that part, then try clicking a little bit more to the left so you don't click on speed raid. Next is, can I get kicked because AFK with the tiny task or not? I personally haven't seen anyone get banned for using tiny task. I've seen some people get banned for using something like tiny task 4 dimensions, but it wasn't tiny task, it was a script. I always assumed tiny task was allowed in this game because there's probably about like 200, 300,000 views of people learning how to just AFK raids. Most of those for me. I don't mean to brag, but most of those are for me. Most of the player base does it, so yeah, it's completely safe to do it. This is probably the most asked question. Can you do this on mobile? Yeah, you can. It's just most phones can't do it on mobile. I don't really know the specifics of it, but one of my old friends said there's a specific app you have to use. And he actually made a video on how to AFK raids on mobile. I'll put that in the description, so actually I'll probably just edit something in to the start of the video to advertise the video so people can AFK raids on mobile. It also works on Chromebook, because Chromebook doesn't have Tiny Task on it. Anyways, there's a specific app you have to use that isn't available on a lot of phones. Specifically, And coincidentally, the one I have. Why? The frick! I would have got so many views off that. Or I would have helped so many people for that. But yeah, I can't teach you how to AFK raids on mobile because I don't, my phone doesn't have the app. I can't get the app. But the video on how to AFK raids on mobile is linked in the description. It is a little bit old, but it should still work. What would be the best characters and assists to do this with? The best kind of characters to do it with are characters that don't have dashes, like Guts or Dio, or pretty much any of the gacha characters because they don't have dashes. And the best assists to do it with are just good assists. A lot of people think you should use ones that don't have dashes, but it's just better to actually use a good assist. And all the meta assists coincidentally don't have dashes, so they're really good for AFK raids too. I also recommend using the buffs for the raids, like the 50% buffs, like in Mob Raid, he has the mob buff. Frick! Why did it do this? Oh, I made it. So yeah, to use Mob as the buff and Kermit, because she's also a buff. So just use the buffs for your raid too. You can use characters with dashes, but it's just not as good. Like characters like Shadow Monarch, because they'll dash around and they'll get away from the boss and just end up not hitting it, and you do a lot less damage. And the more the merrier. So I do this one raid, it works. Next, the tiny task is clicking lower than the last time. So to simplify that question in English, he said he did the tiny task and now it's clicking lower than last time. So let's say he clicked right here, it'd be clicking right here now. No! I have a few solutions to this. First one is I need to actually understand the question better because there's a few different meanings. Like the first one, you could have just not been in full screen like this when you were recording it, and then once you finished recording it, you went back to full screen and then boom, now clicking lower because your mouse is in the same spot but the game is bigger. So another issue is I think Tiny Task used to do this or it still does. I don't remember. I don't even remember if it actually did this at all, but so it just clicks lower sometimes. The best way to do that is just click slightly higher than where you need to click. Pretty sure I used to have that problem, but again, I don't know because I am too old. I'm millions of years old. So just click a little bit higher than you need to. So, like after I finish the recording in my tiny task, when I'm about to go to sleep, do I just press play and let it cook? Yeah. Yeah, do that. It'll just keep doing the raids over and over again, so. But I wouldn't let it, I would watch it do a raid just to make sure everything's going fine. I don't have to do that because you could just say I'm a bit of a professional. But yeah, just do that. Just do that, gang. What do I do if my antivirus auto deletes tiny task and I have to use the first version that breaks if the recording is longer than 20 seconds? Um, I don't know. I didn't mean to click on that. Usually with antiviruses, you can just, I'm pretty sure at least, that you can just set specific applications to just be allowed. But if you can't do that, then I would just recommend getting a different antivirus because, well, I mean, this isn't that important. This isn't that important. So I don't know. If you don't want to get a different antivirus, then don't. But that is a good way to fix it. So this is one that used to happen to me really frequently. I think this is a bug for me, but when I click the continuous playback, it will literally just stop. It'll maybe do it up to 50 times, then it will just stop. So there's one really good way to fix this. I don't know why I'm so excited about fixing this, but you go to your settings and then you turn off continuous playback, and then you go to your playback loops and then just set it to like that many or something. And then it'll do it that many times and it won't stop. I used to just have to do that instead of continuous playback, but it will eventually stop after a couple of years, but I don't think, I mean, it could just take the time out of those couple of years to start the tiny task again. I mean, it's like not that serious. Anyways, if you have any more questions, just tell me in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. And just know if you get answered by me, then it's a little henchman, okay? And this is true. There's going to be a little minion that is on my YouTube account, and it's going to be answering everyone's questions, and it's going to have the exact same answers that I would have because I trained it. That's why. That's actually why. So it's going to happen. So I'll see you guys in the next video where I train a little henchman. Goodbye. Don't ask me for my save file. I'll kill you. I'll kick you. Anyways, it's time to answer your questions, and I mean you. I'm pointing at you. Jason. If your name isn't Jason, then go into the comments and say, Dude, how'd you know my name? If your name isn't Jason, do that. If it is, don't say anything. Don't do it.